Yes.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this online press conference. Unfortunately, due to the COVID situation, we are unable to hold a physical press conference, so it's all just going to be online. I will ask the questions that I received from colleagues from all over the European member states, and László Pesty will kindly answer them. So, László Pesty, our guest today, is a former Hungarian war correspondent, a television producer, and he documented the Eastern European regime changes 32 years ago as a video reporter. He's also the founder of the gorillahu think tank, and Pesty is of semi-secular origin. Who are these secular people, and why is this so important to you?
Yes, the secular people, the Hungarian 1,000 years old ethnic minority in Transylvania, in Romania. It's about 1 million people. The secular people has Hungarian language, Hungarian history, Hungarian literature, Hungarian heart and Hungarian mind. And unfortunately, 100 years ago, when finished the First World War, the Transylvania went to Romania. Hungary lost this territory, and that's why this Hungarian minority, the seculars, are now in Romania. It's another country, and the Transylvania is a part of Romania, and secular land, these three counties, secular counties, Hungarian counties, the part of Transylvania. And yes, and my mother, when finished the Second World War, escaped from Transylvania, from secular land. She was 14 years old, and my father from Budapest, he's an original Budapest guy, and that's why I'm half Hungarian and half secular, but it's too difficult thing, but that's why.
Okay. In an interview a year ago, you mentioned the support of the Hungarian political opposition. In my opinion, that's not really true. There is this left-wing party, DK, with Ferenc Gyurcsány as a leader, who does not support this Sign It Europe initiative. What do you have to say on this matter?
Sorry, you're not telling the truth, because this sentence, yes, it's my sentence. It was this interview, I think, 1 year ago in Hungarian online press, and I said that every normal party in Hungary support the secular initiative in left, in right, in center, the independent political forces, everything. This party, you mentioned DK, Gyurcsány Ferenc party. It's a former communist people, former communist party. It's, from my aspect, not the part of normal political life in Hungary. It's a long story to tell about Deka and Mr. Gyurcsány. He was 33 years ago a leader of the communist youth alliance, communist youth organization during the time the communist dictatorship. You know, it's a long story, but we, the secular initiative, we don't need support neo-Nazis groups and former communist groups too. That's why was this sentence 1 year ago.
Okay.
Like that.
Okay. What is the purpose of the Sign It Europe initiative?
The purpose, yes, Um, there is here in Brussels a European Commission and European Parliament, and there is the cohesion funds, you know, and there is a lot of money, and different countries can't get money from this cohesion funds, and we think that in a lot of places of Europe, the 1,000 years old ethnic minorities can't get enough money from the government, but the government, local governments got money from Brussels, from cohesion funds, but this money don't go to this minority, this territory of minorities, and that's a big problem. A big problem because the ethnic minorities, these territories, national regions, need money to build industry, to support economy, to survive, make cultural projects and so on. And the surviving need money. And it's a big problem in a lot of places of Europe now.
What happened in the European Court yesterday? There was this procedure going on to try to destroy this initiative. Do we have a verdict?
Yes, it's breaking news. Yesterday, the trial in the European Court of Justice was adjourned, fortunately, but it's not so important, I think. The substance of the story that Romania, the state of Romania, attacked a commission in Brussels, European Commission. That was the reason. Romania don't like our initiative, and the problem of Romania that the European Commission has allowed us to collect signature. Is it a problem? That's why this attack. And if the court make trial about it, why? Why? It's the problem of Romania, and it's the problem of whole European communities. If a court make trial about this crazy idea, and I don't know, in the future the court will make this trial, and we don't like the thing.
Yeah, but does that mean that there's still the possibility that this initiative can be suspended?
I don't know. I don't know exactly in this moment.
Okay. Okay, let's talk numbers. Objective facts. How many people did sign this initiative, and where do they come from?
Yes. Let's see. Let's see the law, European law. This rule of European Union say that you have 1 year and you have to collect 1 million or more signatures, and you need a result in 7 countries. In the past of history of European Union started 6 initiative, citizens initiative, and 70 was unsuccessful, only 6 was successful. And we are, our initiative, secular initiative, the 6th. It's a hard work to collect so many signatures in Europe, and that's why these numbers, I think. We have now 1 week. The deadline of initiative will be in 7th May, midnight. That's why we've got only 1 week. And now we have 1,150,000 online signature and some in papers, maybe 240,000 on paper. It's enough, I think. And we have got not 7 countries, we have got 10 countries, and we are here in Brussel, in Belgium, and we try to collect more and more. We try to make Belgium too, and if we will be successful after 1 week, maybe we will have not 10, 11 countries.
How many signatures do we still need in Belgium?
10,000. It's many. It's a hard work.
We'll have another week, so we can have a go.
That's why I'm happy to discuss about these questions and problems here with you, because it's a publicity for secular initiative, and that's why I'd like to say a big thank you very much for the Press Club Brussels. It's a big help for us, and thank you very much.
Okay. There's this very specific situation in Belgium, especially for the Flemish-speaking people. We have always been very suspicious about rules about minorities, because in Belgium especially, they get misused by the French-speaking minority that tries to claim rights in Flanders. How do you define a national minority, and how many people belong to this category? Especially for the Belgian people, it's kind of important.
Yes, it's a very good question, because here in Belgium, it's a special situation, because very many territory in very many countries of Europe, there is a majority and 1 or 2 or 3 minorities. Here in Belgium, it's not a typical situation, because you can ask me, okay, László, who is the minority here? The French-speaking people, the Flemish people, who? It's not typical. But other countries, for example, Romania, in Spain, in French, in a lot of places of Europe, yes, exactly, there is a majority, and usually majority has got the government, the power, and they, under pressure, anytime, minorities. 50 million people in European Union are in this national regions, minority national regions, and I think it's 10% of whole nation of European Union. It's very many people. It's a big group of peoples, and that's why I think our initiative is important.
You already touched on the situation in Romania, but why do you think the regions in the European Union need support? What are the specific problems they are confronted with?
Yes, different problems. I think we can say there is two big part of problems. First of all, the human rights problem. Many people think that the human rights problems was only the past of this continent, but unfortunately not. No. I say for you only 2 examples. I've got a lot of. but I'm saying only about two countries. Baltic States, there is a lot of Russian people who hasn't got citizenship. Without citizenship, they live without citizenship. Second, Spain. In Catalonia, 9 persons are in prison. Political leaders, it's not a crime story, sorry. It's not criminals. Political leaders of Catalonia, former political leaders of Catalonia. I've got another story. I've got, unfortunately, a lot of story about European countries, and it's a trouble. The second part of problems, the economical problems. You and I, 10 minutes ago, we mentioned this cohesion funds in hand of a commission in Brussel, and you know the governments can get money from this cohesion funds, and the minority regions, the national regions, there and here, don't can get money from the government. It's a money problem, an economical problem, because these national regions need money for industry, for culture, for all, and the first for the surviving.
You mentioned the Baltic States. There is indeed a Russian-speaking minority, especially in Estonia, but most Estonian people regard them as a leftover occupation force. They are also not really well integrated, and they look for everything to Putin and Russia. Do you see this as an opportunity to integrate them in the European project?
Yes, it's a very difficult question. Let's see, this 60 years when Baltic States were the part of Soviet Union, and Moscow sent a lot of Russian people to the states to change the ethnical situation. That's why in Estonia, in Lithuania, and in Lithuania, the people who don't like the Soviet regime, don't like this area, don't like this part of history, think that why are you Russian people, why are you here? Go home. But you know, it's not a historical problem. It's a problem of individual, a person, Igor or Natasha. They are living there in Baltic States, and Igor and Natasha don't made this part of history. Natasha and Igor don't Brezhnev or Stalin. That's why now, after 30 years, political changes there, yes, in Baltic States, not only in Hungary, in Romania, in DDR, in Bulgaria, in Baltic States, was the political changes 30 years ago. And after changes, you know, during the capitalism, the multi-party system, the individual persons are there with a Russian identity, without human rights, in sometimes, and without citizenship, and I think it's a big problem.
Thank you. Do all the member states who joined the initiative have the problems you mentioned before, the cultural problems, the economical problems, not just about the identity. It's very specific for the Russian people. Are all these member states who joined this initiative confronted with the same problems?
Who?
Well, the member states that make out the 10 countries who signed and
Yes.
succeeded in gathering enough signatures.
Let's see. I think there is the 10 countries where we have been successful. 10 countries. I think there's two part of this group. The first, for example, Romania or Spain, they have hard problems with minorities. I think seculars or Catalans are under pressure, and it's a hard human rights problem. For example, in Romania or in Spain. The second part of the countries we have, for example, Hungary or Ireland or Slovenia, we was successful. We have a lot of signatures because people thought that we have minorities in other country, Slovenian people, for example, in Italy or in Austria, and that's why we sign it. Or Hungarian people think that yes, there is a lot of Hungarian in Slovakia, in Serbia, in Romania. That's why I will sign it. In Ireland too, this attitude, solidarity. For example, Irish people can see the situation in North Ireland. That's why he live in Ireland, but will sign it. These two parts.
You state this initiative is a non-political one. But when I look at your past, I see that you're an influencer who belongs to a specific party in Hungary. Hasn't politics mixed into this initiative?
Yeah, this question is very difficult to answer. Is it? Good question. Is it a political initiative or not? Is it a civil initiative or not? We've got a lot of aspects. This initiative has political aspects too, okay, but economical aspects, cultural too. Maybe you're right. It's mixed. There is a political thinking. There is a political part of this story, but cultural, economical, and civil too. I don't know exactly. Which person has got politics, culture, economic, and so on in this story? It's a mix and very difficult to answer your question, but it's important. People who doesn't like our petition or initiative say that it's a clear politic, because in a lot of place, in a lot of country, the people don't like politics, and that's why if we are a political story, we are a political initiative, a lot of people won't sign it.
Okay. The think tank gorillahu, which you are the founder of, is behind this initiative. That's a bit of a strange word because it comes from the Spanish word guerra, meaning war. In Latin America, most guerrilla movements are extremely left-wing. What does it stand for in this initiative and in this think tank? Isn't this a little bit controversial? seeing that you are more on the right of the spectrum in politics. So isn't it strange that you named your group after a left-wing expression?
Yes, in Hungary is not only the South American resistance movement that are called guerrillas in the public consequences. The meaning this word in Hungary wide, wider than what you mentioned. The guerrilla meaning, yes, in Hungary. You're right. In South America, in the past, this movement was really was radicals and in left. But this word in Hungary means independent, not regular. Guerrillas in the mind, a Hungarian man, a Hungarian person, a guerrilla is guerrilla fight quickly, and the guerrillas support the poor people. Guerrillas support local. Guerrilla fight against global. That's I can definite this word like this.
Okay,
In Hungary.
thank you. Guerrilla.hu is communicating and using in its communication over 15 social media platforms, all very different. But it's not only the platforms that are different, also the messages seem to be quite different. In Sweden, you send out a liberal message. For the Basques and the Catalans, you send a conservative message or a left-sided message. In Central Europe, your message is more leaning to the right wing. Can you explain this?
Yes, I try. I try to do hard work because the minority, the ethnic minority problem in Hungary or in Central Europe is in the past was a right, politically a right a thing to speak about it and so on. But in Scandinavia, and at Christmas time, we was successful in Sweden. We finished the Swedish limit of science. In Sweden, the political life more liberal, like in other parts of European Union. That's why if we want to be successful in Sweden, we must send liberal messages, and this problem, the ethnic minority problem, has got aspects, liberal aspects, for example, human rights. If you see these problems from aspect of human rights, you can send a liberal message. For example, to Sweden, there is a Finnish and Sami minority, and we was at Christmas time before one day Christmas. We finished Sweden, and we was successful with the liberal messages. The political life of Scandinavia is liberal, the left and right too. But other example in Spain, for example, Galicia, Basquian people or Catalonia are thinking. Catalonia are thinking about independence. There some problems between Barcelona and Madrid, and it's a very hard situation. That's why this 9 people unfortunately in prison, for example, and so on and so on. Mr. Carles Puigdemont, here in Brussel, and we don't know what will be the future of Mr. Puigdemont. He's a hero in Catalonia, an icon, a political icon. But if he must go home, maybe the government will arrest him, and so on. That's why the Catalonia and Basques thinking about independence. First of all, Catalonia. It is a very strong movement there. But this part of Spain, not really not in the right side of political life, because in when was Mr. Franco the leader of Spain, this two county or territory wasn't under pressure, and that's why Basquians and Catalonians movement don't like too much the right. That's why they, first of all, in left, but they have a very patriotic thinking, and they are speaking continually about independence and so on. That's why the national feeling in Hungary in left, in right, but maybe in Spain in left. It's difficult problems, and we need 1 year, learn about it, and it wasn't enough.
Well, that actually kind of answers the former question about it being a political movement. It's very politically diverse. Being left-wing in Spain, right-wing in Eastern Europe, and liberal in the Scandinavian countries. But we are today here in Belgium. And why are you in Belgium? What is your purpose here?
Yes, behind us, 15 months. It's a very long campaign. Too long, too long. We are a little bit tired. And we've got only 1 week. We have got 10 countries, and we try to get Belgium. It's the last chance. Only 7 days, and maybe we will be successful. Maybe not. I don't know exactly. But Belgium is the most important country for this initiative, because the Commission in Brussel, in the past, 8 years ago, didn't give permission to collect signs. That's why there was a little problem, because between Sackler's initiative and Brussels Commission. Maybe, I don't know exactly, maybe Brussels, the Commission in Brussels, don't like our initiative. I don't know, maybe. That's why we will, if we will get signs here, this 15,000 signs here in Belgium, it will be, if it will be successful, if it will be a symbolic victory for Sackler's initiative and a symbolic victory for all ethnic minorities in Europe.
We'll try our best to collect the left 10,000 signatures. But even if that succeeds, don't you think it's a bit naive to believe this petition would pass on a European level?
Oh, naive? Oui? Okay, okay. Listen to me. I feel like you're skeptical, not?
Well, I think about the nation states who are in control at this moment, and they're not really amused by the thought that they would give some power to regions. They like it centralized.
Okay. You're not rude, but not polite with our initiative, I think, but it's no problem. Listen to me. If we are skeptical, we won't be successful. If you start a work, it's another work, it's the same. If you are skeptical, there was no success. You have to be optimistic. I'd like to speak about an example. I was the member of opposition movement in the 80s in Hungary. We had fight against the dictatorship. And 32 years ago, we made political changes, and it was successful. And now, in Hungary, in Romania, in Bulgaria, in DDR, in German, in Soviet Union, former Soviet Union, now in Russia, multi-party system and the free market and so on, the freedom. But, you know, there was in Hungary more than 200,000 Soviet soldiers, a big Soviet army with tanks, with Kalashnikovs, was a very strong dictatorship, and we tried to change it, and it was successful. If we are skeptic, doesn't happen this. That's why I think we need another way of thinking. We have to be optimistic, not skeptical, and we will be successful.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Pesty, for this explanation. Thank you everybody for watching, and I wish you good luck and a lot of success with the initiative.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for questions, for publicity. Thanks.